What is up, sports geeks? It's your host Josh here, back with a fantasy football Friday. As crazy as that sounds, fantasy football season just ended, and we are here. We gave it up for what, maybe 3 weeks, Alec, and then we were just itching to get back into it. But we're back here with a rookie dynasty or rookie draft here. Yeah, dynasty rookie draft here. This is for a super flex. This is just 2 rounds, nothing but rookies here. This is extremely early. Let's just remember that, extremely early. None of these players have even been drafted to teams yet, right? So a lot of this is going to be fit, right? Look back at like a Bucky Irving from last year. His fit was pretty good with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And he's a guy that probably wouldn't have been drafted here. So let's just remember that. But we have 2 rounds here. I'm going to take the first pick, so you can have the actual real first pick, because I think this is pretty simple. We are going to go with Ashton Genty there at the 101. We are using the Google Sheets here with Mr. Alec, because nobody even has a site to do a rookie mock draft, which maybe tells us we shouldn't be doing it yet, Alec, but we're going to do it either way. I'll go ahead and start off with the easy pick, Ashton Genty there.
Awesome. No, I love that. I've been seeing these all over YouTube. I kind of just wanted to jump in and do one with us. So, Ashton Genty obviously is the 1-1. Don't really see how he wouldn't be. I think it's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Okay. So I think this is also pretty cut and dry here. I'm going T-Mac here from Arizona. I think he's going to go in the top 10. Really hoping for him to land in a situation where he has a young QB or already an established QB. Not a lot of names or not a lot of teams in the top 10 have that. Maybe he can fall to, you guys will probably see our mock draft before this. So hopefully we go ahead and put T-Mac on a team that actually has a real QB and a real chance to kind of pop off year one. But no, I think T-Mac's unbelievable. Kind of reminds me of Drake London. So I like him here too.
Yeah, I liked it. I think those are the easy picks, especially before we have fits here, because now I shouldn't have taken the first pick, because now I have the first actual tough pick here, because now I have you have Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, both are going to be starting quarterbacks somewhere, you'd think, right? And then you have kind of, in my opinion, the next tier of running backs is Amari Hampton and Caleb Johnson. That's the kind of that next tier, and then it's that third tier of then you get Scadaboo. You get Sampson, you get Judkins and Henderson, the Ohio State duo in there. You get Devin Neal in there. Ollie Gordon second's not included here, but maybe he gets in there. But then you get a guy like Tyler Warner, Colston Loveland, who could go to a spectacular situation, and especially in the tight end premium market there. So, and then you also get somebody like Travis Hunter, right? I doubt he's going to be playing too much receiver, but we really don't know yet. So this is where it gets really interesting to me. I'm going to take Caleb Johnson. I think Caleb Johnson has a spectacular upside, and I just have a feeling that his draft value is going to be late first round, early second round, but more, I think it's going to be late first round, which means he's going to be in a good position. He's going to be on a good team, which I think means so much more. I think back to like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Think about how high he was being drafted when the Chiefs spent a first-round pick on him. In redrafts, he was like a third-round pick, right? So I think Caleb Johnson might just end up in a good situation here, in which I think his value is going to be through the roof.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. That's the fun part about kind of the running backs. I feel like wideout, like we've seen this, like Malik Neighbors last year, or this past year, like he was playing with terrible QBs. He still produced. Wide receivers can still produce. Running backs, it's a lot tougher. So I definitely, it'll depend on where these running backs go in the fit. I totally agree. Like if Caleb Johnson goes to the Chiefs, he's going to go. He might go over T-Mac in some drafts. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think it really just depends. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and that's probably a hot pick there for sure with the Caleb Johnson.
No, I like it. I mean, it's between, honestly, but if we don't think Travis Hunter is going to play a lot of wideout, it would probably be between Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, and the 2 QBs. So I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's all fit with running back specifically, like you were saying. But over to you here for 4.
Yeah. So 4, I'm going to go Cam Ward here. I just think that if he goes, if he ends up going 1-1 in a super flex league, it's kind of hard to pass up on the 1-1 QB if you have pick 4 in a super flex draft.
Yeah, no, super flex. I would agree. Probably I should have went quarterback there and super flex at the third overall pick, but that's all right. And yeah, my fifth overall pick is an easy one. Then I mean, there's two quarterbacks that are going to play, and I will say this: Jackson Dart's beginning to fly up people's boards. I know we were just talking about that off air, but he's flying at people's boards. I don't think he's going to be a first rounder, but I think he might have hype like he's a first rounder
Yeah.
when it gets closer to the draft. He's a guy that's similar to like a Zach Wilson. He will test spectacularly. His combine day, his pro day will look great. At the Senior Bowl, I fully expect him to play really well. So he's somebody that like everything at the season's done. Everything from between now and the draft, he will do really, really well at. And his stock is going to increase, right? So whereas like somebody like Dylan Gabriel, I would not expect his stock to increase between now and the draft.
You also have to think like Jackson Dart with the with the vacuum that Drew Aller left. Like teams need QBs. Like it is what it is. Like there's just this, there's not a lot of good QBs. Teams are going to always take chances. With Drew Aller going back to Penn State, kind of leaves the door open for like somebody to move into that third QB spot. I actually would argue that Drew Aller might have been higher on the board than Shitter and Cam Ward, just like due to like probably potential. But I think Jackson Dart could take over that third QB spot on teams' boards. Really no problem at all.
Yeah. No, I think that the third QB spot's completely up. I mean, Jalen Milroe, the rushing upside's clearly there. As a fantasy manager, you would love Jalen Milroe. If Jalen Milroe were to go to I don't know, say the Raiders don't get a quarterback in round one and they draft Jalen Milroe in the second round, Jalen Milroe becomes maybe worth spending a first-round pick here on
for sure.
Because his rushing upside is so high that if he comes into the game, he's a guy that, I'm trying to think of a quarterback that's basically like almost like a better Dorian Thompson-Robinson, right? Somebody that has elite rushing upside. But, I mean, as far as football play, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think Jalen Milroe should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. But if I'm just a fantasy manager and he's gonna be, I would like to have him on my team.
Yeah, no, it's like Justin Fields 2 years ago. Like
yes,
he's not good in real life. Yeah, he's not good in real life, but like he won you leagues. So just because he's rushing for 130 yards a game, but no, I like it. I like the Shadur pick too. Okay, so number 6, I got to go Omarion Hampton here. I feel like that's pretty chalk. If you've been watching a lot of these, he's 6 foot. He's 225. He almost had 40 receptions this year. That's over the 20 reception threshold where we see a lot of these really good running backs that translate to the NFL. He's a bell cow, average almost 6 yards a carry, 1,700 yards, 50 or 1670, something like that. He's going to be really freaking good. I really, and I say this, and I know it's probably a hot take. We're in freaking January. Draft's 3.5 months away. And this is obviously like a couple of years down the road. I could see Omarion Hampton. If you told me he was better than Genty in the NFL, I would not be surprised. Just because of the body type, his production. And I know that's maybe a hot take now, but no, I think Omarion Hampton's like that good though. Like that's how. I mean, he's gonna be unbelievable.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what all these guys run when it comes to 40 times, just to get to see flat out beeline speed, what they compare to here. But no, I like that Hampton pick there. I'm going to go Luther Burden here because I think that Travis Hunter is the better receiver than Luther Burden, a better all-around receiver. But I just don't. We're talking fantasy football here. We're not talking NFL football. And Travis Hunter's a guy his snap limit on offense is going to be limited, I think. I don't believe maybe he plays full receiver in some downs at corner. I think it makes more sense to play full down, like 100% of the snaps at corner and some downs at wide receiver. So in that situation, I would take Luther. Luther Bird is a stud. He could end up in a great spot too, depending on the fit. If T. Higgins walks and tests free agency, I think Luther Burden to the Bengals is a real possibility there at 18. And if that happens, this is a spectacular – I mean, he would fly up this board, I think, quite a bit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we in our last mock draft, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. Actually, it would have been 2 ones from ago, our very first one. So I picked Luther Burden to the Cowboys to pair up with CD. That'd be another good spot too. There's a couple good spots for Luther. A couple really good spots for him to kind of pop off. But no, I like Luther Burden there. I think he has a chance to be a stud. He kind of meets the threshold of 200 pounds. He's 5'11 and a half. Kind of like we talked about this last year a lot. All of the really good receivers in the NFL all kind of have like that similar build. They're all like 5'11 to 6'2". They're all like kind of compact. He kind of fits that mold. So I could see him just popping off as well.
Yeah, he's somebody that can run. I mean, he can play in the slot. He can play as your wide guy. So I think that gives you in a PPR league somebody coming out of the slot. He gives you the ability to get absolutely peppered with targets. So
Yep.
I think that's really nice in fantasy value here.
Yeah, no, I love it. So I'm not going to overthink this one. I think he is going to play more than we think at wideout. I'm going to go Travis Hunter here.
Okay.
I think it's kind of, yeah. Do you want to move him? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hard not to, because we won't know if he's going to play that much wideout. But if he does, and we can get him at pick 8, like the value's too good to pass up.
Well, I think another thing that you bring up here is that like the talent is there. We know that. But if it's a situation where whatever the fit is, if he goes to New England and New England goes and signs, I don't know, whoever, right, in free agency, or New England's receiving weapons, maybe they thought they were going to get T. Higgins and they don't get T. Higgins, and now Travis Hunter, like whatever it is, or maybe Jalen Polk and Demario Douglas both get injured next year, and now all of a sudden you need a wide receiver help. Whatever it is, Travis Hunter's ability, if he is going to play the majority of the snaps at receiver, is through the roof and worth spending a first-round draft pick on, probably either way. So no, I like that there. I think this is where we start to look at the fits of these two tight ends. Mm-hmm. And I think the tight ends really come into play here at the end of this first round. I like Tyler Warren a ton. I think he's somebody that could be a 4 catches for 80 yards type of guy. I think Colston Loveland is a lot more of like a 8 catches, 50 yards type of guy. I think those are kind of their two, just their play styles. I'm going to take Tyler Warren here. I think that the situation that he goes to could be a spot in which he needs to be used, because you're going to probably use a top 20 overall pick on him. Yep. Colston Loveland's not going to be too far behind. I'm just going to lean Tyler Warren here, though.
Yeah, no, I love that. Tyler Warren to the Chargers would feed families in fantasy football. There's a couple fits for Tyler Warren that get me really excited. There's also a couple fits for Harold Fannin Jr. that get me even more excited a little bit later. If I was really that gutsy, I might pick him with my last pick in the second round, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, no, I really like him, by the way. He runs like AJ Brown. He's unbelievable. But no, I love that Tyler Warren pick. He's going to be a stud.
Yeah, he is.
He's just a football player. He is.
He is.
Yeah, he just
gives me Kittle vibes, right? Just a dude that like in that I'm watching the semifinal game, right, against Notre Dame, and I'm watching it with my girlfriend, and he gets absolutely pummeled, like head hits the ground so hard, and I'm like, oh, 2 plays he's going to be back in the game. But whatever protocols he has to go through, he will not go through them. He's going to be back in the game. Sure enough, 2-3 plays later, he's running out there, probably concussed, but he's just like a football play. Like, I'm going to be on the field at all times.
Yeah.
And as a tight end, he's the type of dude, if it's 3rd and 40 and you throw him a dump off screen pass, he's fighting for the 7th and 8th and 9th yard. He doesn't care. He's running through somebody's face.
Yeah. I think for Tyler Warren, the cool part about watching him play too is, like, if you've never watched football before and you watch his effort, it immediately jumps off the screen. Mm-hmm. So I think I think effort's a big part about, like, at least tight ends translating the NFL. It's kind of why Kyle Pitts hasn't translated as much yet. Kind of just looks like he doesn't care. And like, you know how I'm not saying he doesn't care, but you know how like some players you just watch and you're like, oh my gosh, that dude's effort. Guy like Cam Scatabo, like we're going to talk about potentially in a little bit, like just somebody that gives max effort. I mean, they're always great to have in fantasy because, I mean, you never know when they're just going to pop off a garbage time touchdown when nobody else is really trying, and they're giving it their all. They might get a 20-yard catch for a touchdown at the end of the game, so you just never know.
Yep, absolutely.
So pick 10 here. I think Ibuka has fallen too far for me right now. Mm-hmm. I think wideout's kind of like the king of fantasy football, so I'm going to go Ibuka here at 10.
Yeah, no, I like that pick. I think Ibuka. I think the Steelers are a real possibility given the range. I think that's something that we could see. I think the Broncos are a real possibility. I think that kind of mid early to mid 20s is where we'll see Igbu come off the board, and dependent on the fit there. Yeah, no, I like that there. I'm going to go with a running back here. I'm going to go with Quinshon Judkins. I think I'm going to take him over Dylan Sampson. I love Quinshon Judkins' game. I think he runs angry. He runs quick. When he puts his foot in the ground and he goes upfield, it is dangerous. I think he gives me I don't want to compare him to Bijan Robinson because Bijan Robinson was the 7th overall pick and is a spectacular running back already in the NFL, and his draft stock was way higher than what Judkins is, right? But Judkins is a spectacular prospect that runs with that kind of that unique balance of power and speed, and I love him as a prospect. Wherever he ends up, I'm curious to see where he falls, right? Is it second? Is it third? Is it mid-second? Is it late second? Because kind of what I was saying earlier about Caleb Johnson and taking him at 3rd overall kind of crazily, but is that the fit here, if you get to the end of the 1st round and you're on good teams. So when you get to the end of the 2nd round, if that's where Judkins falls, you're also with the same good teams, and the value there could just be unreal.
Yeah, no, I said this when Judkins was at Ole Miss. This is kind of before the Niners got Isaac Guerrero after he kind of popped off. Judkins in that San Fran running scheme would be unfreaking believable. Just something like that where you kind of give guys their vision and they can kind of pick the hole. Judkins is really good with his ball carrying vision. I really like him. It's going to be interesting to see what he runs, like 40 time wise.
Yep.
I think that's going to be a big deterrent. Like if he comes out, runs a 4.44 or a 4.46, he's going in the beginning of the 2nd round.
Yeah.
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep.
So 2nd pick in the 2nd round here, I'm going to go TreVeyon Henderson.
Okay.
We kind of saw him against Texas take that screen 75 yards. He just has a speed and a burst that not a lot of people have the God-given ability to do. And he is going to run potentially in the 4.3s. Kind of hard to pass up on that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I'm going to take my 2nd tight end here and get Colston Loveland off the board. I think Colston Loveland is he's kind of, I mean, similar to Warren, right? You have the ability to, I think Colston Loveland to the Chargers as well would feed families for fantasy, right? I mean, you're reunited with your old coach in Harbaugh there, and we know that you're going to get used plenty, and you are plenty talented, and you have a great quarterback with you there. And based off of Will Dissly's drop into an interception the other night, I'm going to assume they would not target him near as much, especially if Loveland gets drafted to them. Obviously, that's a hypothetical, but I think wherever Loveland goes, if you're in a PPR league, he has a ton of upside there.
Yeah, and for both these tight ends, I just want to say this too. Like this isn't we're not doing like a tight end premium. If you're doing a tight end premium, I could see Tyler Warren going like 6.
Yeah, and like Colston Loveland in the 1st round
for sure. No, for sure. Yeah, no, I have no doubts about that. I totally agree. Okay, so here I'm going to kind of project this. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be given a chance. I'm going to go Jalen Milroe in a super flex here just because of the rushing upside.
Okay, I'm doing the exact same thing with Jackson Dart here because I think he's going to be given a chance somewhere as well. And if he's given a chance beginning of the 1st round with a team kind of like the Raiders, like what I mentioned earlier, I think that in a super flex, it's at least valuable to have him on your roster. So I'm going to do the exact same thing there. 4th and 5th pick of each round there going QB.
Yeah, awesome. So this is where it kind of gets, a little dicey. This is kind of where fit is going to matter and where these guys get drafted. I'm going to go Trey Harris here. Jackson Dart's teammate had a great year. I mean, he was leading the NCAA and the FBS in receiving, and he had missed like 3 games at one point. He was still leading in receiving yards. He was unbelievable. He was a 5th-year guy, so it's going to be interesting to see. We saw Xavier Legette kind of pop off in his 5th year, and then he didn't produce this year as a rookie, so it's going to be interesting to see how Trey Harris runs and everything. I really like – I was watching his clips. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? He's a really good football player. At least he's a really good college football player. But I think with the right fit, he could be pretty good in the NFL.
Yeah. No, I like that pick there. I'm going to go somebody who I think is going to be overhyped, and it's going to be Isaiah Bond. But I think realistically, I think this is probably what's going to happen is Isaiah Bond is somebody who, similar to his Hook'em Horns teammate Xavier Worthy, is going to run a rapid 40-yard dash. And when he does, he's going to fly up everybody's draft boards. People are going, I don't know how fast he's going to be. If he's going to be in the low 4.2s, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 4.2s. I think maybe it's expect a high 4.2s, but either way, he's going to be rapid. And if he goes to the correct fit, like Xavier Worthy going to the Chiefs, if he were to go to like the Bills, I think he could have a situation where it's worth spending a pick on him in the off chance that, man, Joe Brady and this Bills offense just love to throw him screens.
Yeah.
Then he can take anything to the house. So I think Isaiah Bond's upside, I'm looking at these receivers left, and I think Isaiah Bond's upside is probably the highest of any of these receivers.
I think so too. Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you said. I think that's a good pick. So this is where it's tough for me. This is all going to depend on draft capital for running backs, but I'm going to go Dylan Sampson here.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson had a heck of a year. I didn't even realize this. He had like 20-plus touchdowns. It kind of just came out of nowhere. It was like unbelievable. I remember before Ohio State played him, I was looking at the season stats. I'm like, he had 20-plus touchdowns. And then he ended up getting hurt in that. You're taking Ollie Gordon. He ended up getting injured in that Ohio State game. Dylan Sampson had a great body of work this last year, so I really like this guy that you just picked too.
Yeah, I get that's on me for not putting. I'm the one that created the spreadsheet, and I still didn't put Ollie Gordon second in there. But Ollie Gordon, he is somebody that I think this year his offensive line. I know his offensive line this year was atrocious, and what we saw out of him last year, I think, is what I would expect a little bit more in the NFL. And with him falling down draft boards as much as he is, I think that what we could see is him ending up on a team that really, really just loves him and loves the way that he plays. And I can't get over myself picturing this of him getting drafted by the Baltimore Ravens and sitting under Derrick Henry for a year or two, as we would like to think at some point before he turns 40, Derrick Henry is going to start to act like a human being. But if he does, when Derrick Henry starts to trend down, eventually, if you have Ollie Gordon, I'm not going to compare him to Derrick Henry, but if you're going to compare any running back to Derrick Henry in this class, it's going to be Ollie Gordon. He's 6'2", 225. Derrick Henry's 6'3", 247s, right? So I think it's as close as you can get, and he runs strong. He runs powerful. He's fairly quick. He's good in the receiving game.
Yeah.
I like Ollie Gordon a lot here, and given the fit, I think he could have a ton of value here at the end of the second round.
Again, I know we're doing this in January, so I keep talking about 40 time. I keep talking about agility drills. I keep talking about combine. But if Ollie Gordon runs in a 4.4s or the low 4.5s, I mean, you're talking mid-side. This running back class is deep, but Ollie Gordon, you don't just ignore that he rushed for almost 2,000 yards like the year before last as a 20-year-old. Like, you just can't ignore that.
Yeah, well, to be 6'2", 225, and you're running a 4.4, 4.5. He has vision too. It's not like he's just rawly athletic. He has vision. We've seen the vision. It's just you had a terrible. I mean, he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage in like probably half of his carries. I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but if you watched a game, it looks like you and I are out there blocking for him, Alex. So I like Ollie Gordon the second a lot as a player in the NFL. I like him a ton. I think his value is going to be really good. In fantasy here, I think end of the second round is also very good value.
Yeah. So last pick here, I'm going to go. So it's between Cam and Devin Neal here. I'm going to go Cam here just because I think his hype after the national semifinal game against a really good Texas team, a lot of NFL guys on the field, and he was the best player on the field with a lot of future first rounders, second rounders, third rounders. And he was probably the best player on the field. So I like, if he gets third round draft capital, I really like him at the end of the second.
Yep, absolutely. I would agree with that there. So this is our first official Rookies Dynasty mock draft. A couple crazy picks in there, especially my Caleb Johnson one there early. But hey, the fit, if you notice in the parentheses, it is still college team listed there, which means none of these guys are on NFL teams yet. So the fits are so difficult to predict. But this is going to be super fun as we go through the combine, as we get to see these stats. Alec, I know you and I are going to be at the combine for at least a day or two. But we will get to see these stats, and it'll be a blast. But this is the first Dynasty fantasy football rookies only mock draft. Say that 5 times fast right there. But this has been the Sports Geeks podcast. They play, we talk. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.